Welcome back to the channel, guys. In today's episode, it's going to be part 4 of 5 of our 5 secrets to scratch golf. And in today's episode, we are going to be talking about up and downs. So we're gaining distance off the tee. We're hitting more fairways now. We're hitting more greens and regulations now. Now it's focusing on, okay, the greens that I do miss, now what?
Yeah, I think the interesting thing to start with is this is a trickle-down effect. One thing can't fall in place until you start with the very first thing. So distance, fairways, greens. Now we're going to hit half the greens. What do we do on those half that we don't hit it, Colton?
So the ones that we don't hit half the time, so we're looking to get up and down and do our best to get up and down at least 50% of the time.
Right.
So now that we're getting ourselves closer to the hole, our dispersion's a lot better, we're hitting more fairways, and we're not short-sighting ourselves as much, we now have room to have a more or less a stock shot.
Right.
Because with chipping and pitching, there are a lot of variations, grass, grain, slope, whatever the case may be. You have different clubs you can manufacture. So if you're not short-sighting yourself, you're going to have in and around the same type of shot over and over. So we were talking about before, the average 10 to 12-digit handicap has a 40-foot dispersion from around 150 yards.
Yeah.
Ish, right? So if we have 40 feet, guess what kind of chipping you should be practicing? In and around that 40-foot range. So
just over 10 yards,
essentially,
15 yards.
Yeah, essentially, if you pace off, every pace is essentially 3 yards. So if you pace
3 feet,
3 feet. So if you pace off, what is that, like 14 steps or something?
Yeah, it'll be like 10 to 15 steps.
10 to 15 steps from the pin when you go to your chipping green, when you go to practice. Have a shot that you have from the fairway or from the rough, whether that's a 58, a 60, a 54, whatever it is, and practice 2 different angles, up and then downhill chips.
Right.
That's it. So essentially, if you're trying to get up and down and you can practice those shots, it's going to be a lot easier to get in that range of getting up and down, because I know that even if we talk from the PGA Tour, which is the second part of the putting getting up and down,
right,
we're looking at, what, 50% from 8 feet?
Yeah, and that's it. And the thing with putting is, like, you can work on your putting to get better, but it's not one of the key elements actually to playing scratch golf. Like, if you've played enough golf to tackle these other things, you're going to have hit enough putts to be fairly good at putting. The main thing with putting is, what is our proximity? Because from 8 feet, it's 50-50.
It's a coin flip.
For the best, like, you can't improve it to 90%. It's going to be around 50-50. It's a coin flip, and it's more to do with the odds from how far or how close you've hit the putt, right?
Correct.
So yeah, the average chip shot inside of 25 yards, do you know what it is? It's the 12 feet for a scratch golfer. Correct. So it's not like you're hitting it super close all the time. You're going to have, remember, there's going to be some shots where you miss the green barely. You might be in the fringe. You might be like just off the green. And those ones we're going to try and hit close. You're going to try and hit those maybe 6 feet or under, and you're going to have a really good chance of making them. The key is, from when do we have those tough ones? When are we 15 yards out? Like, can we get it on and at least give ourselves a chance from there?
That's the big difference. And exactly what you said, like, if we're 50% from 8 feet, if my goal is to chip it to a pin length away, which would be an exceptional chip from 10 to 15 yards away.
Oh, if you could hit it there all day, you're great.
So if you get it to 8 feet, it's a coin flip. And guess what? That coin flip directly correlates with the stats we're talking about. That's where our 50% comes from. So as long as you can chip it, and 8 feet to a lot of people seems like, oh, that wasn't that great of a chip. But it's like, if you can draw an 8-foot circle around a pin or on your short game facility or whatever, and you're chipping it from 10 to 15 yards away every time, and you're getting it inside 8 feet, that's really good statistically, right? And then from there, it's a complete coin flip.
Yeah,
right?
It's a complete coin flip. And so the last thing is, we're going to get in some tough spots. We're going to get in some difficult situations where it's not going to be very likely we're going to hit it to 12 feet. We're going to need to identify that. And that gets into our double bogey avoidance, and which leads us into our last point, I think.
Correct. So for the next video, we're going to be covering one of the more important stats to just setting up expectations. But the goal for this is to essentially chip it within 8 feet and then give ourselves that coin flip toss of getting up and down.